going to be right back. So now that that's done, we can just fix up the little things. And hopefully we'll get our little editor change. One, two, three. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So is the header wrong? Property customization helpers. Make move buttons should take. So we have the text, so it's on move clicked. Alright. I'm just looking at this and it's, I think I've got the right stuff in order, but this make move buttons function is wrong somehow. Like it should be on move up clicked, down clicked, and like so. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on there with the diff. I don't think I messed it up. I like how I'm just spending, you know, like freaking 30 minutes or more just making it so I can rearrange things in a freaking array in Unreal. I mean, you'd think that would be just out of the box. Like Unreal 4 version 1 would have that. But no, it does not. And other people have like built in different solutions to try to get around it, and you know, I bet somebody has actually written the like whole drag and drop interface stuff at some company and just didn't submit it back to mainline. Which I think that was one of the questions with my SSL stuff. They're like, why don't you just do a pull request on it? Be like, well, it's their fucking problem. They should fix it themselves. But what about being a nice person? What the hell with being a nice person? I don't care. I just want to complain about stuff. Let's be honest here. So let's get it built. Fuck me. Try to get to know her. Yeah, it's true. We'll compile all the things here. Because basically what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to just, even if it takes a while to get it set up, I want to be able to set it up nicely. And to literally have to like insert a new object or something, like you can work around reordering elements by inserting an element and then like duplicating it. But that's kind of annoying and stupid. Ridiculous. I mean, this whole thing is annoying and stupid and ridiculous, but whatever. Alright, so more compiling, and then we'll actually see if it decently works. Yeah, working non-elegantly is much better than not working at all. That's basically crash course in game development right there. Sometimes the absolute worst things that you program in there are the best. It was pretty funny. I was talking to Adam earlier today about how we're going to create the abilities and all that stuff, and it's really funny because we have very different opinions on how things should work. Like when you press like the dash button or whatever, like how everything works. It's just interesting how you can be working on the same game and both of you just have very different opinions on how things should function. Because he's like, well, braking should just happen when you hold the opposite direction that you're going, and I'm like, well, but I have to move my thumb all the hell the way over there. Why can't I just brake with a button? And he's like, well, I guess, it's. And he really likes using the triggers for abilities and things like that. And I'm like, but I gotta move like my finger, the whole way to actually pull a trigger. Trigger buttons are for chumps. He's like, well, no, trigger buttons are cool. They're like, if you're firing something. And I'm like, I don't give a shit about firing something. I just want to hit the damn button as fast as possible. So it's pretty cool how different everyone's opinions on things are. So let's see if this actually added our thing in here. And ultimately, it's going to be probably me implementing the abilities and stuff like that and the controls. So a lot more of what I want for the controls are going to be in there than what Adam wants. So, ha ha ha. Ha ha. So let's see. It doesn't show up. Oh, it does. Alright, so we can reorder stuff. Awesome. So I can actually do shit. So, and that's one thing that everybody has different opinions on. Like, if people aren't, and we'll see. It's really like once you get the controller in your hand and you actually start pressing the buttons, that's it. Like, you can talk about how something should work all day, but when you actually sit down and use the controller or the keyboard or whatever, and it feels right, that's what's right. People can you can bitch about stuff all day. It's just you need to actually get something in there, and the feeling that you have is much more important than the explanation of why it's correct. Alright, so we got all that in there. I want to organize stuff a little bit. Well, and it's also some people like different things. Like, I remember when motion controls came out for the Wii, one of my friends was just like, everybody was excited with like the new Zelda game where you could swing the controller around. And he was really upset. He was just like, I just want to hit the fucking sword button. I don't give a shit about any of this. Everyone else is having all this fun swinging their sword around. He's just there, just like, no, this is stupid. I hate everything. I play games so I don't have to do the motion. If I wanted to learn how to sword fight, I'd just go fucking sword fight. It's like, well, you're not wrong. Alright, there's just so many animations here that it's hard to actually get started with what I want. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of start over, and then I'm going to add them one at a time. So we're going to want the breathe flipbook. And I'm going to call this one idle. And then we're going to want the W idle. Call this walk. I mean, this is the other thing, is now our names can be like actually, reasonable. Alright, so this will be trot. And then we'll have run. Yeah, it's the bitey swagger. Alright, then we're gonna need put dash in here. And I'm gonna do sprint. Alright, then we're going to make a few more. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see, we're going to want the stationary jump. And the stationary jump, we want the... Looks like we only have the run jump. And we have the trot jump as well, but it looks really bad, so I'm not going to put it in there. Alright, so we'll do the jumping ones and then the landing ones. I guess I could do the rising ones next. Alright, so... So stationary, rise. I guess we have rising. The run is missing an arm. Like this one has no arms. Stationary rising. And we'll do a trot rise. And we have a hang. Okay, stationary hang. Alright, so we have stationary hang. Looks like we have trot hang. I guess we have run hang is the only one we actually have. Alright, we got stationary fall. stationary fall, and we have run fall. We have stationary land and run land. Stationary land, run land. Let's throw one at the beginning here. Let's insert and let's have a look. Alright, and for the last ones, we're going to want the stationary crouch. And then we need crouched. I guess I could just call this one crouch and this one crouched. Let's see, we have this walk crouched. Is it W crouch? So the thing here is I can actually, we can actually name these things. We can name this thing crawl. And have him, actually crawl. Let's see, crouch, turn. So I think that's everything. So let me just make sure to save it. And then let's go to our movement class. And let's see, our movement controller. Is it playing any animations? Doesn't look like it's playing any animations. Alright, so we need to go to these states. So let's make sure that our state names are actually correct. So we'll throw this over here, this other monitor. Alright, so this is going to call dash idle, and instead of that we can just actually call it dash, things like that. So I think this is gonna make it a lot easier for people to use this stuff. Is instead of all these ridiculous names, we're gonna just have normal names. Alright, so in air. Alright, so let's see. For hanging, we've got stationary hang and run hang. For rising, we've got stationary rising and trot rising. Why don't we just call it run rising? Alright, this is falling. We've got stationary fall and run fall. Alright, and let's take a look at our names for landing. We got stationary land and run land. Alright, so let's go on to the run state. The run state just has run. The sprint state, we just have sprint. Alright, so this is just going to be idle. And look. Alright, trot is going to just have trot. And then walk, we'll just have walk. Don't need all these crazy names. Not anymore. So let's see if Bitey is working. And he looks like he's doing what he should. Cool. Alright. So what should we work on next? We have fixed up his animation, simplified all the states. We killed Fatsack. He's now not in existence. We'll bring him back at some point. Alright, so what we could do is... it would be a decent idea to go ahead and remove the the movement object, we could go ahead and remove these movement animation things. So let me go ahead and do that. So let's just do that. So what I think we're going to do here is, I think I want to be able to crouch, and that's kind of the next thing. Crouch and crawl, I think, would be pretty cool. So let's do that next. So I guess we should make a new state which is called crouch. And we can enter that state from our stationary state when we hit the down button or something like that. So if we have movement states, why don't we go ahead and make we'll duplicate the trot state and do bitey crouch state. Let's go to our movement controller, and I guess we need to add bitey crouch. Alright, so what exactly do we want to do for the crouch state? I mean, obviously we want to play a different set of animations. Like, basically what we want to do is we want to, when we enter the crouch, to actually call the crouch animation on enter. So let me write it down. What do we want? Crouch should call the crouch animation on enter. It should loop the crouched idle animation if not moving. It should call the crawl animation if moving. It should exit crouch if we are no longer on the ground. It should exit crouch if we stop holding down. And the other one is to enter crouch. We want to either we need to be on the ground, be stationary, and holding down. Hit the toggle crouch button. Should we have a button to like crouch or uncrouch? Be stationary / walking and holding down. So we call the crouch, loop the crouched idle animation if not moving. Call the crawl animation if moving, and we should interrupt the crouch animation if necessary. We should also, on exit of crouch, we may play the reverse of crouch if we go to stationary. We want to call crouch turn if we change our direction. We must wait for the crouch turn animation to finish before we can crawl. Alright, well, why don't we just start with the basics. We need to call crouch on enter. Well, for this one, it doesn't matter if landing is play. Well, maybe it does. Like, if landing is playing... Alright, so... let's call crouch. And should we hook up an event for the finish, or should we just like see if we're finished with crouch? Alright, so I need to kind of break this up. I'm trying to figure out kind of in my mind how I want this to work. So it's basically on enter, we're going to be like, we're going to call like set crouching and set all these things to false inside of here. So what this is going to do is we enter our crouch, and then it's going to kind of, we're going to call and try to play the crouch animation if we haven't. So it'll be like a branch right here. Like we'll need a function called like try to crouch, and we want to put all this stuff in it. So we'll call try to crouch. So it'll be the same thing here. We're gonna have like a branch here for like if entered crouch, let's do a not. If we have not actually entered the crouch, then we're going to try to crouch. And if we were actually able to do this, then we're going to call set entered crouch to true. And I guess crouching to true. I guess it's actually a thing up here, like if any of these are so we'll get if we are crouching, let's put a not in here. So if we are not already trying to crouch, then we do this. And I'm gonna be right back. So trying to figure out kind of the right way to hook these sorts of things up. Alright, so if we have entered crouch, then we're gonna, if we have not entered the crouch yet, we are going to try to crouch. Otherwise, we're fine. So what we want to do is we want to know when this animation is finished. So I guess we want to bind to our crouch event on enter. So like get animation. We have animation end, and we probably also need animation start. And we also want to unbind when we are finished. And we're going to need to get the animation ID for... Yeah, I think we need to get the animation ID by name. So it'll be the crouch anim ID. So this should be an int. And we're going to call on initialize. We'll snag that. Alright, so we got the crouch animation ID. So what we want to see is if the animation ID is equal to crouch. So we'll get the crouch ones, we'll say equals. Then we're going to say crouching, we're going to set that to false. So I need a branch. So if this is equal to true, crouching is false, and entered crouch is true. Alright, so if this is the crouch animation, and we've started playing, then basically we want to set these variables here. We want to set crouching to true and entered crouch to false. And one of the things we want to do is if this is not the crouch animation, then I'm not really sure what we should do. This would be for like an animation. I guess it's more of a, if this is the crouch animation that has started playing, yeah, then we are crouching and we have not entered crouch. Alright.